Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Next Level Her podcast, where real journeys lead to real growth and the real you. I'm your girl, Pauline, and today we're diving into an amazing topic, the journey. Because let's be honest, the destination is great, but the journey is more fulfilling. Let's get into it. Y'all, we live in a world that glorifies the finish line, the certificates, the rewards, the destination, the wins, the milestones, whatever it is, whatever accolades you want to call it. But to be honest, sometimes it is not it's not so much about the mountaintop experience that shapes us. It is the climb, the process. It's the messy middle. It's what we walk through and go through along the way. If you've been frustrated because you feel like you're not there yet, there in quotation marks, air quotes. If you've been frustrated because you feel like you're not there yet, keep listening. So, a lot of times we like to just focus on the destination. We focus so much on the arrival, so much on the finish line. When we think about just the different things we do at our jobs with a business, we have goals, the recognitions. We set lots of goals in so many different areas in our life. We hustle hard and we celebrate arriving and getting there, right? Don't get me wrong, the finish line can be very sweet. There's nothing wrong with setting goals. There's nothing wrong looking towards the finish line, looking forward to the reward. There's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes we can hyper focus on so much on the outcome. We can focus so much on the outcome that we miss the real miracle in the journey, the transformation that happens along the way. And sometimes when we look at the outcome, the big player is the work we put into it to get the outcome that we get. So think about it. How many times have you finally reached a goal only to realize it didn't satisfy you the way you thought it would? That's because the fulfillment you're craving isn't just found in getting there, it is in the becoming, it is in the transformation. It is becoming who you are meant to be, who God created you to be. And the becoming process happened during the whole getting there in the journey, right? So let's look at some scriptures. Y'all know I like to get into some scriptures. In Romans 5, 3 through 4, it says, not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character, hope. Ooh, I love it. That tells me that it is the struggle that produces the character that help you to persevere. The waiting, it develops. It develops you. The uncertainty grows something in you that is undeniable. God is not just trying to get you to the promise. He's shaping you to be able to sustain it. And the only way you can sustain it is to become the person that can sustain it. A lot of times we have these goals and we set our minds to do certain things and we just want to get there. But just getting there, if we were to skip the middle, we would have missed out on the character building, and we would have missed out on the development, the strength development, right? And you want to be able to arrive being capable of handling whatever it is at the arrival, at the destination. It's imperative that we try not to skip the middle so that we can learn what we need to learn in the process. So when we get there, we are prepared. Let's look at Joseph. You know, God showed him a dream early on, right? But he didn't go from the dream to the palace overnight. He went through betrayal, slavery, prison. Woman lied on him. He went through a lot. But each stop built his leadership, his humility, his faith. The journey qualified him for the destination because the only way to be qualified is to get through the journey, right? Will you allow yourself to be qualified? And guess what? You are in the same process. You have to allow the journey to qualify you for your destination. Sometimes we want the promise more than we want the presence. You hear that? You want the promise more than you want the presence. But it is in the journey that we learn how to walk with God, how to trust Him, how to hear His voice, how to rest in His plan when ours fall apart, right? It is in the journey because when you in it, sometimes it can be rough. And when it's rough, sometimes you ain't got no choice but to call on God. If you're like me, when things are great, sometimes you get so wrapped up in the greatness that you forget. It's hard to forget God in the valley. When you're going through it, it's hard to forget God in the valley. So sometimes we have to go through it so that we can increase our dependence on God, so that we can see our need for Him. He's strategic now. Okay. All right, let's look at Psalms. Let's look at Psalms 23, verse 4. It says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. I alluded to the valley a little bit earlier. It says, even if I walk through the valley, He's with me. And the beautiful thing is, He's with you too. The valley may not feel good all the time, but the valley is where you discover that He never leaves you. You discover His deep love for you. You may not always realize it in the moment, but you discover it. That's where intimacy with God is born. That's where your prayer life deepens, baby. When you in the grit of it, when you in that valley, your prayer life goes deeper and deeper and deeper. It deepens. That is where worship becomes more than a song. Y'all ever be worshiping and you just start crying because worship becomes more than just worshiping. It is where you learn to walk by faith and not by sight. It's not the destination that draws you closer. It is the dependency on Him during the journey. So, let's be clear. Fulfilling doesn't mean it's going to feel good all the time. There will be days you question yourself. There will be setbacks, reroutes, silent seasons, and doors that close. But there's purpose in every step. I was talking to a client the other day, and we were just talking about the importance of just going through things that aren't easy. Sometimes people are in a place in their life and we think that, oh, I shouldn't be in this place. I shouldn't be here in this moment. I shouldn't be in this situation. I shouldn't be in whatever it is. And when people tell me that, I'm like, no, you're in this situation for a reason. You're in this place for a reason. And it is for God to be able to use you. Now, we don't always know how God will use us in a situation, but there's something to be learned here. So we have to become attentive to our situation and just focus. God, what is it that I'm supposed to be learning here? What is it that I'm supposed to be identifying about myself or the situation, whatever it is? But our situations, they're not always unique, but at the end of the day, there's no mistake in where you are. No matter how ugly it is, there's no mistake. There's a purpose in it all. But that journey, the place where we are now, that valley, that not so good looking place, right? That is what's going to help define us and help us build character. It's going to give us insight. And you don't get that without going through the valley, without experiencing some things, right? Let's look at James 1-4. It says, let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Y'all hear that? Sometimes we want to go from baby to adulthood. We have to have time of pruning and maturing. And going through maturity isn't always, it's a process. We can't skip it. But we have to go through things in order for us to be mature, in order for us to be complete, in order for us not to lack anything. Can you imagine going on a scavenger hunt? There are specific instructions given to you, and you have to make sure you check everything off the list. Can you imagine starting and then skipping some stuff in the middle, skipping it and getting to the destination and realizing you're lacking some things because you skipped the middle, you skipped the journey, so you didn't get certain things. You might have missed out on certain treasures. You might have overlooked some things. You might have missed some things altogether, and you get to your destination only to realize you're not even prepared. Your task isn't even complete. And so therefore, you don't have everything you need to even thoroughly enjoy the destination, to even be able to move to the next level. Now you're immature, incomplete, and lacking. So it is important that we persevere and finish. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature, complete, not lacking anything. Ooh, that was good. God isn't just preparing the blessing for you. He's preparing you for the blessing. He's preparing you for it. Have you ever given your child something? If you have kids, have you ever given them something and they're not even grateful for whatever it is that you give them? They weren't prepared for it. They weren't prepared for the blessing. But sometimes you got to prepare them and prep them, right? When we go through things, the tears, the tests, the experiences, the lessons, it is all a part of the process. They help equip us for the work. Every time you keep going when you feel like quitting, you grow. It's just like when you're at the gym. You don't want to do one more push-up or one more rep of lifting weights or whatever. Your muscles can't grow if you don't do the work. And it's like that in every area in our lives. Like that muscle will not grow if you don't work it out. So every time you keep going, when you feel like quitting, you grow. Every time you say yes to obedience instead of convenience instead of comfort, you grow. And every time you choose to trust instead of fear, you grow. The growth that you go through in the journey, in the process, that's the fulfillment. That's the joy. I have a sign in my salon. I told you guys I'm a loctician. I do locks. And there's a sign in my salon that says enjoy the journey. Because when my clients start their lock journey, when they start their locks, that the locks in itself, baby, it goes through a process. It goes through so many different phases. And sometimes the journey can get a little bit complicated. Some locks don't always behave the way they should. You might have some issues that, happen along the way, and you might have to fix some things. You might have to repair and redo some things. It's work. But through it all, I always tell my clients, enjoy the journey. When they complaining about the new phase, oh, my hair look like a plucked chicken. It's not cute. This is not this, it's not that. I'm like, enjoy it. Because once they get past the first stage, now they missing it. They look back and say, oh, I miss when my hair was X, Y, and Z. So I tell folks, enjoy the journey. And that's in every area in our lives. If we look at some non-biblical examples, you'll see that one of the examples I have is Tyler Perry. Kudos on, what's that name of the movie? Dang it. Straws. Kudos on the movie Straws, Tyler. That was good. And the ending, oh my goodness. I was not expecting that. He did your thing with that one. But when you look at Tyler Perry, he lived out of his car for a while. He put on plays that most people didn't go to, maybe just a handful of people. But in that hidden season, he learned endurance. You have to be consistent. You have to endure. You have to have faith to be able to keep going, even when you're not at a place where you want to be, even when you're in a car. But he learned endurance. He learned faith. And he learned storytelling that will eventually impact millions, you know? And then even when you look at Steve Jobs, he was fired from the company that he founded. And during that season, he started Pixar and returned with a clearer vision. And I'm sure in that process that when he got let go, I'm sure he wasn't happy about it, but he had to go through a journey so he can come back better prepared and better and more developed for his vision, right? The journey often feels like a detour, but it's the very place where destiny is developed. So don't miss this moment by looking for the next one. And that's something I'm working on, y'all, because I tend to live in the future. I'm not always in the here and now, but I am fighting to be in the here and now, to enjoy every moment of it. Yes, we're going somewhere, but God is doing something right here. Yes, we got a plan and we're excited about what the future holds, but God is working right now, right here. So it's important that we are present. I'm speaking to myself, y'all. I'm speaking to myself. It's important to be present, to be grateful for where we are now, to be teachable. Don't just grind towards the goal, because, baby, grinding is what I know how to do. I know how to grind, but we can't just keep on grinding towards the goal and just keep our eyes focused on the goal. That's important. That's important. But in the process, Enjoy the now. Enjoy the here. Enjoy it. Grow into the woman who can carry it with grace, especially when you get there. This journey that we're all on is producing wisdom in us. It's producing testimonies. Baby, the testimonies that you will give, the testimonies you will have when you get to that destination. It's producing resilience in you and strength. And these are the things that you can only get when you go through the journey. Destination cannot give you those things unless you go through the journey. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He makes everything beautiful in its time, including this season that you're in." I don't care what it looks like. This season we're in, He makes everything beautiful in His time. So, if you are in a space where you feel like, God, I'm not there yet, I want to remind you, it's okay. You're not lost or anything. You're just being led and you're being built. So let's shift our eyes off of the finish line and celebrate the woman we're becoming along the way, along the journey, because we are always becoming. And this next level, her podcast is going to keep going because we always have a next level. There's always a next level because there's always a better version because we're always growing. So let's celebrate that. If this episode blessed you today, share it with a friend or a sister or an aunt, whomever who needs this reminder. And don't forget to leave a review. It helps more women find this space of faith, growth, and realness, y'all. So until next time, keep walking, keep trusting, and keep becoming the next level her. Talk soon.